Hello everyone, we are joined by Glyph, Gentlemates, IGL, who is just coming off of their win against FUT. Firstly, congratulations on your win today, Glyph. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. One thing is I'm not IGLing on this team. It's mostly Starzo and Mini doing a lot of the work, but I help a good bit when it comes to information and still have a role there.
Okay, that's good to clarify. Because for some reason I was under the impression you were IGLing, because I know Mini was doing it for
Yeah.
a while,
Yeah.
but I felt like, yeah, with the roles that he plays, it might be you stepping more into it. But anyway, well, welcome to EMEA. How does it feel to switch regions, first of all?
Feels pretty good to switch regions. I mean, there's a lot of new faces, new play styles, new teams that I'm excited to play that I've gotten to practice against. It's a whole different experience compared to North America and the scene when it comes to challengers and play styles. There's a lot of different play styles and compositions that people play that I don't really think are replicated, or at least people are more open to trying a lot more things, I feel like. But I think it's been a very comfortable transition for me. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still just playing the game, and I've played the game for so long now, even though this is my rookie year. So it's just a pleasure to be here and play against new faces that I haven't played against ever, really.
Do you think it makes it like more intimidating, or are you just like, I don't care who I'm playing against, I'm just gonna chill?
I think I definitely held certain people, certain teams on like a pedestal, just seeing them online, seeing them in internationals, whatever it might be. But as I've kind of assimilated in the ecosystem and played more in ranked or played more scrims, that's kind of gone away. I kind of just realized that they're normal teams, normal players, and the level of competition isn't as different, as I'd say, compared to North America. And so for me, I don't think it's that much of a challenge or it's that different to adjust towards.
I think one thing I wanted to ask you was you've basically played at all three tiers, right? Like collegiate before there was a pathway
Yeah.
from collegiate to challengers, and then challengers, of course, last year in your ascension run, and now you're in tier one. So I wanted to ask you what you think are the biggest differences between these, different stages in terms of play style, in terms of like preparation, whatever else.
I think it's an obvious one, but I think it's just discipline as it goes to the tiers. There's a lot of more preparation as you go from tier 3 to tier 2 and tier 1, and the individual skill floors are just rising every tier you go towards. And so for me, it's just adapting towards the level of play when it comes to my teammates and being able to help them or to match them and what they're used to and how their experiences are, as well as playing against other people who are more disciplined. It's just harder to play against when it comes to not as much giving free kills or free mistakes and things like that. A lot of those things I'm able to capitalize on that I think I was able to punish last year in Ascension or in Tier 3 whenever I was playing that. But as it goes, it's just a higher level of play through the tiers, and there's a reason why it's Tier 1 in the first place. And so I'd say discipline is the number one thing that's the difference maker.
Discipline. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. How's it been moving to Europe? How's living in Berlin? All that.
I mean, for me, it's been great so far. There was a pretty wicked snow day like the other week. And that was not great for me. I'm from America. We don't get snow that often where I'm from, but it got really icy one time, like a week before our match, and I like full slipped downstairs because it was so
Gotcha.
icy. And so besides that, I'd say Berlin's been fine, but outside of the snow, that might be my worst enemy here. But it's been great so far.
Where in the States are you from? I'm guessing somewhere a bit hotter than that.
I'm from originally in Maryland, but I've bounced around in Houston, South Carolina, things like that, and I've been to California plenty of times now,
So mostly
and
warm
so it's kind
places.
of, yeah, mostly, yeah.
Oh damn, yeah. Talking about your team, how has it been like settling in? How have you guys been working on like bonding and stuff? Because I think it was a major rebuild for Gentlemates. Like they basically revamped the whole roster and stuff. So I think only Avez is left from last year and like the coaching. So, oh not Avez, sorry, that was Casey. My bad, wrong notes. But I think I wanted to ask you, with the rebuilds and everything. I think Martine's still there. So how has it been like
Yeah.
adapting and how have you guys been bonding, etc.
It's been great so far. I think there's a lot of different characters and different profiles, and I think that makes the experience more so fun. More than anything, we're able to practice and be able to know when to take things serious, but also flip the switch when it's not in practice and be able to poke at each other, be able to have fun and actually spend time with each other outside of just what is the workday, I guess, some people might say. And so for me, it's been a pretty easy transition. They've been more than welcoming, even though there's some cultural differences, or they might not understand me all the time, or I might not understand them. They're super warm when it comes to trying to understand and talking about things and understanding how I grew up or how they grew up. And so when it comes to just getting along with each other, I think it's actually been pretty easy comparatively. I tried out for a couple different EMEA teams before I landed in Gentlemates, and I think it might have been a little bit harder because I think there's more language barriers. But with this team, I feel like the English is pretty good overall. And it's really easy to understand, get along, have decent conversations with everybody, and then really learn about them. And it's been less of a barrier than anything as I expected it to be.
So, what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you so far, having made the move?
I think for me, it was definitely, it's been dual-edged sword, I'd say. It's been good and bad not being IGL now. I think there's a whole different set of skills that I didn't really have IGLing style. So talkative, vocal, maybe microing much, where I need to more focus on listening, understand where I can put in my input and calls and things like that, that I never really had to struggle with before, not always being the leader basically for most of my teams. And so that's definitely been the biggest struggle for me. But in the same breath, it's been very relieving in a sense. There's a lot less stress in a sense to be able to deal with so many things and have so many considerations calling. And I've been able to put more time in working on myself mechanically and how I want to play the game and be able to be a more fleshed out player as a whole when it comes to being a part of a system rather than the one leading the system. And so I think in that sense, it's been great, but also been tough and struggling sometimes. But over time, it's gotten much, much better.
What about like I don't know if it's a permanent rule change, but I noticed that you were playing smokes today and stuff, and it's a bit of a change from the cipher that at least I'm used to seeing you on most of the time. So, is that like how has that been for you?
Smokes is pretty natural for me. I've played it for a long time. I think it's just, again, adjusting towards the discipline between tier one and tier two. There's a lot of different, like even today, I feel like I made a couple of mistakes that gave them a couple of rounds where it shouldn't have been. I think respectively, the game should have been easily 12-3, probably both games if I didn't throw like a couple of thrifty rounds. Honestly, I just got caught out a couple of times and just wasn't really playing as disciplined as I should have been compared to the other team and my teammates. And so, in that regard, it's been outside of that, it's been pretty easy, I'd say. But that's definitely been very tough for me. But as a player and playing on smokes, that's very comfortable for myself.
And are you excited about your next game? Because I think you guys only need like two more wins to get to Santiago, so you're getting closer and closer. How cool would it be to make like international right out of the gate, first tournament in tier one? How are you feeling about that?
I think that'd be amazing. I mean, we're all super excited to be playing on the stage again. For Minnie and for Martina, I don't think they've said they played since September or something like that. So
Oh
for
damn.
them, it's been a while, and for me, I haven't played Ascension in maybe 4 months or something like that. And so it's just always exciting to be able to play on the stage, play in front of a crowd, play on broadcasts and things like that. And so I'm very excited. Everyone else is very excited. And if we made it to Santiago to play in front of an even bigger arena, an even bigger crowd with more stakes, I'm sure we'd all be stoked. And me especially, I'd be very excited.
That makes a lot of sense. And talking about EME in particular, which teams do you think are going to be your biggest obstacles on the way to Santiago? Because again, there's been a couple of roster shuffles for most of them, and people aren't sure how the landscape is shaping up. So just wanted to get your take. Like, who do you think are going to be your biggest challengers?
I'm not looking at anyone as an obstacle or challenge at all. To me, it's a compete. I have to have a chip on my shoulder to play against everybody. And in some sense, I need to respect them and respect the opponents. And with every opponent that I'll play, I'll give them the respect of doing the preparation, doing the hard work to play against them. And I'm not going to underestimate anyone or overestimate anyone and give them too much respect. I think for me, I wouldn't say there's any obstacles or any challenges that I'm looking forward to or looking to face. I'm more so just looking one match at a time, one play at a time, one scrim at a time, and slowly over time we'll improve and we'll get to where we need to be.
And for you in particular, what is your ultimate goal in esports or Valorant or whatever? I mean, I'm sure champions is a pretty obvious one, but aside from that, is there anything in particular that you as an individual want to achieve?
I only care about winning. It doesn't necessarily matter how it's done or what I have to do. I'd say I'm very selfless in that aspect. Whatever they'll ask of me, whatever I need to do, I'll get it done and I'll easily just give whatever I have to do what it takes to win. And so in that regard, I just want to be a player who's consistently up there. It doesn't necessarily matter about my performance, but if my team's performing, if we're able to make deep runs, able to win tournaments, that's all that really matters to me, and that's what I want to be known as after, if I ever retire or whenever I'm done playing, that I was someone who was always a contender, always someone who was respected to play against.
I think that's a very deep statement. Like I'm not making fun of it, but yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I might use that as my title quote. Thanks. Yeah, and finally, how has it been among the Gentlemates crowds? You guys have one of the biggest fan bases out there. So how has it been having all that consistent support and everything?
I love it. It makes it so easy. There's no extra pressure. They're all very welcoming and supporting, and it's so overwhelming when it comes to what they provide, when it comes to the nice tweets, always tuning in streams and things like that. Their support is actually always there, and I'm so happy to be able to represent the Gentleman's brand and to represent this organization. I've talked about it in many interviews before and videos and things like that, that I've always been a fan of Gentleman's as a brand and stuff like that. And so now being able to interact with the fans, be able to see what their fan base is like, I'm so proud to be able to be one of the players to represent them this year. And so I hope to always do them right and show them something that they'll be proud of and be excited to watch this year as well.
All right, and last, I'm just gonna throw some quick fire for questions at you. They're gonna be very fun, very
Yep.
simple. Favorite agent?
Viper,
What agent do you hate to play against the most?
Vise,
Favorite map?
Breeze,
Worst map?
Ascent.
Really? Wow, that's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't like Ascent.
No, not like this. Who on your team? Who's the most likely to mold?
To Mauled?
Yeah,
Maybe Mini
maybe Mini.
or Starkso. Mini or Starkso, the two IGLs. You know, we gotta listen to them. So if you don't, I understand. I've been the IGL. I've gotten mad many a times with people not listening, so it's totally understandable.
Who's the most joyful, meme person on the team? Like who's the most likely to make other people laugh?
In the same note that he might mauled because we're not listening, he's also the most joyful, and it starts so easily. He's always the hype man, always has a lot of energy, and so he's definitely the one that makes anyone laugh at any given point. He can do anything. You don't know what's coming out of that guy.
And favorite thing to do in Berlin so far? If you had time to do anything aside from scrim and stuff.
No, I play the game so much. I'd say my favorite thing to do, I mean, there's so much different foods that I haven't tried. And we're in such a good area where our office is specifically. So I guess for me, it's just checking out local cuisine and things like that, new restaurants.
All right, well, good luck. I hope you get to see more. And I'm going to wrap it up here. What is the one thing that you personally want to improve a little bit before your next game after today's? Is it just a discipline thing or is there something else?
I think more than discipline, just to be more specific, is just weak side management. I think that was definitely where I had gaps and where that was kind of caught off is when I was just the weak side and it was very obvious and I let myself die in very bad situations that let them come back in the rounds, let them be able to win the rounds basically since I just threw them, like I said. And so for me, I think I've always been a player that's really good at improving and learning from my mistakes. So it's going to be no problem, but that's definitely something that I need to look at and be more crucial and critical on. And that's something that I'll pinpoint moving into next week, next couple of days matches.
Yeah, next few days. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go let you celebrate with your gang. So thanks a
Thank
lot,
you so
Glyph,
much.
and good luck for your next game. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.